Welcome back. With more than 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's, there is a critical need for local support and services to help them and their caregivers deal with the disease. We're still talking with Nick Hart with the Montana chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. Thanks for still being here with us, Nick.
Sure.
So let's talk about the Montana chapter. Is just one chapter, is that right? There are chapters all across the United States for the Alzheimer's Association.
It's true, yeah. Every state in the United States has at least one chapter.
Okay.
And we offer a host of supportive resources, educational programs for those who are affected, and that is a common core source of programs that is the same throughout.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about those common core programs? What do you focus on?
Sure. So we work with information and referral. That's certainly one focus. We have resources that help people with Alzheimer's and their caregiver gain access to community resources such as respite care, elder care, lawyers, financial planners, care services, that kind of thing. We also work with care consultation. We help people navigate through the challenges that the disease presents and offer education and support for every step of that journey that somebody might be on. Support groups are another big one. Volunteers, trained staff can support those groups and facilitate them. And obviously those are for people with Alzheimer's and those providing their care. Emotional support, it's really important for them to know that they're not alone. Safety services, people with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia are especially at risk to wander, and if they're not found within the first 24 hours, the odds of them being found alive are slim. Okay. So that's something that we absolutely focus on. We offer Medical Alert Plus. It's an Alzheimer's Association program which gives people a 24-hour emergency response line to report when a person with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia wanders away from home or becomes lost. So we also offer other safety services to prepare first responders for those kinds of situations and how to navigate them. And then lastly, education. It's key. We offer a variety of educational materials on topics related to Alzheimer's and other related disorders. And we know, Beth, that people can do better when they have the information that they need to do better.
For sure.
You can't know what you don't know.
Right, right. Okay, great. And so to make sure that you hit all of those core programs, Montana, like I'm sure other local chapters do, put together a plan. Can you talk a little bit about Montana's plan?
Sure, yeah. The Alzheimer's Association's Montana chapter, we feel very fortunate to work collaboratively with dozens of highly qualified and dedicated individuals and organizations from across the state of Montana in what is called the Montana Alzheimer's and Dementia Work Group. So over a 3-year period, this group identified needs that are specific to Montana and its communities. For example, throughout Montana, we have shortages of providers specializing in care for older adults and Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, even in more urban communities. We had 13 town hall meetings all across Montana to gather that kind of information from community members. We had similar meetings on several reservations in Montana as well. Okay. And using that feedback and research, the research we did about Montana's healthcare services and gaps that needed to be filled in communities, we developed 11 goals and recommended action steps to move forward with.
Okay, and we don't need to go into all 11 of those goals,
Sure.
But can you kind of give us an overview of what you're trying to accomplish across the state?
Sure. The goals of that Montana Alzheimer's plan and those of the Alzheimer's Association are naturally in sync. We want Montanans to be first of all, aware of and comfortable talking about aging issues, especially Alzheimer's and other dementias, and we want to make sure that people know about the available resources that there are to help them throughout that process. We also want people with Alzheimer's participating in decision making to the best of their ability so they receive dignified, high quality, person-centered care. We want family caregivers to get support and feel valued, and we want healthcare providers to be able to diagnose Alzheimer's disease early and accurately and then introduce people to the effective interventions and support. And lastly, we need our policymakers to recognize this as a priority. We need our state officials to understand that this is a public health crisis. We've identified that with the Centers for Disease Control federally. It is a public health crisis, and we need their help with setting up support systems to make sure that we can continue to research Alzheimer's disease and better detect, prevent, and manage the disease.
So what have you been able to accomplish so far?
We published our state plan in December of 2016 and set about immediately establishing work groups to focus our efforts on various aspects of that plan, like developing a statewide PSA, public service announcement campaign, creating a resource brochure for providers to offer to families, and hosting legal workshops to help their families get their affairs in order. And in the last year, we have worked with our partners at the Office on Aging to secure funding to extend the reach of our services and supports to the area agencies on aging throughout the state.
Can you talk a little bit about why it's so important to make local strides to something that, as you mentioned, is a national public health issue?
Sure. With the prevalence of Alzheimer's, pretty much everyone, if they're not already, is going to have it affect their lives, either personally or through a loved one, a friend, or a family member. And given the long duration of the disease, the strain on Alzheimer's caregivers can last several years and produce serious declines in caregiver physical, emotional, and financial well-being. So Alzheimer's is bankrupting families, and it threatens to bankrupt our nation. Barring the development of significant medical breakthroughs, the number of people age 65 and older with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia may nearly triple from 5.7 million now to 13.8 million by 2050. So the total payments for health care, long-term care, and hospice for people with Alzheimer's and other dementias are projected to reach $1.1 trillion by 2050.
Okay, that is an expensive disease for people to take on, and unfortunately we do need to stop to just take a quick break again, but another goal of the Montana Plan is to build dementia-friendly communities. We're going to focus on what's happening to make that goal a reality right after this. Don't go away, we'll be right back.